Today I'm going to be making my favorite all-time, I guess, Christmas cookie, but I make it pretty much starting in fall, all through Thanksgiving and everything like that. Hopefully all goes well. I'm using some unfamiliar ingredients and stuff like that, but let's just get going. Here we do have the very dirty, very nasty recipe list here. So I call these Gingersnaps, but they're really not. They're more like molasses cookies. And they're for $3.25. It says 12 to 15 minutes, but it's probably closer to 9. We'll get there. We'll get there. But we start off with 3 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of cloves, 2 tablespoons of ginger. And then we have, you can use margarine or shortening, but I'm using, apparently, I don't know what it is. It's called Stork. It's basically the same thing. And then 2 cups of sugar, I used half and half, the brown sugar and the white sugar. And then 2 eggs and half a cup of molasses, which I've never seen it like this, but apparently that's also molasses, so apparently that will also work. But, alright, so we start off, and you're supposed to sift the dry ingredients. I don't. I'm probably going to put this over here so I can read it and still be facing the camera. So you're supposed to sift the dry ingredients and set aside. So that's the 3 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of cloves, and 2 tablespoons of ginger. I'm just going to give it a bit of a mix up because I just kind of dumped it all in here and I haven't really mixed it up yet. But this is when it, like right away, it immediately just starts smelling like Christmas to me. But I love these cookies. They're really chewy and like I don't like the really dry, crispy kind of ginger snap stuff. That's why I say, like, they're not actually technically a ginger snap, but I still call them that. And they're really good when you're kind of feeling nauseous traveling around the holidays, too, with all the ginger. But there we go. So we have the dry ingredients, and we set that aside. And then we're supposed to cream the butter shortening together. But since I'm already using something that has been kind of creamed and is just really in a soft, gooey consistency, I don't need to do anything with that. So I'm going to add the sugar and the eggs. And that is 1 cup of white sugar and 1 cup of brown sugar, which is a bit different consistency than I'm used to, but that's fine. And then we've got the 2 eggs here, and I already have something set aside to put the shell into. There we go. When I was a kid, there was one time Mom told me to crack an egg, and she gave me an egg, and when she came back, I had cracked every single surface of the egg, so that she couldn't actually crack it because every little bit of the shell was cracked. There we go. So we've got cream butter shortening, add sugar and eggs, and beat. So we're supposed to mix this all together. I usually do it by hand. I do have a mixer beside me, but I don't know. I like doing everything by hand. It feels like there's more love in it, you know? It's a bit noisy though, so you'll have to excuse me. Might have to put like a musical a musical moment in here to cover up all this terrible grinding noise. It's really nice though. I like this this margarine shortening replacement. It makes things a lot easier. I do also have the eggs at room temperature, which I think is better, but I'm pretty sure it's fine if your eggs are not room temperature. They'll survive. Cookies will survive. Hopefully the cookies survive. I don't actually know. There we go. So it's not quite there, but mostly there. Give it a bit more. So once we've done that, we just need to add the molasses and the flour mixture. It's a really, really easy recipe and really, really delicious. So highly recommend. I'm going to put the recipe in the description, of course. There we go. So here is the 1/2 cup of molasses. It's just really weird that it's like dry and not goopy. Just going to kind of mix this in a little bit before we get the flour in here. And the flour mixture I'll probably put in a couple pieces, like just a little bit at a time. Yeah, I don't know what I think about this But yeah, with flour, and especially with cookies, it's good to just do it in like 2 or 3 portions instead of doing it all at once. Because if you do it all at once, you do that. You flick flour everywhere, and it's really difficult to get things mixed in. So that's what not to do. Oh, it smells so good though. The great thing about this recipe is once you get to the final step, you basically kind of roll it into a ball and put sugar on it. And you can actually just kind of put it on a cookie sheet and put it in the freezer until it firms up a bit, or the fridge. And then once it's firmed up, you can put it just in a freezer bag in your freezer, and you can bring out as many or as few as you want and cook it any time of year. So you only have to actually make the recipe once or twice, maybe a year. I think once I made like a double or quadruple batch, and I only actually had to remake it like 2 years later because I still had all the cookies in the freezer and they were still delicious. Flicking the flour everywhere. What am I doing with my life? This really does make me nostalgic though, just the smell. My mom has one of those like mandarin oranges with cloves put in it, and I'm pretty sure it was made sometime when I was a kid, but she still has it. And it still smells gorgeous. She brings it out every Christmas. There we go. I'm going to do the flour in like 4 parts. But generally, a super easy recipe and delicious and good for you. And I don't know, almost everybody I've ever served them to loves them. So definitely worth trying. It is really helpful though if you do kind of measure everything beforehand. Makes everything less stressful. I know it's like not supposed to be for stress. It's supposed to be for like actually accurately cooking something well. But I definitely find that doing it ahead of time helps. Alright, so now we've got this pretty much mixed up. There's still a little bit of molasses chunks in there, but relatively good to go. And this is a super sticky mess, so prepare to get your hands dirty. So at this point, basically we need a teaspoon, tablespoon works too, but depending on the portion and the size of the cookies you want, you can stick with a teaspoon for now and just overfill it. But yeah, so we roll in sugar and drop by teaspoon on pan. So we've got the dough, we've got a bowl of sugar, which we're going to have to refill as we go. But don't overfill it, because then you just end up with some random sugar you can't do anything with. And then we've got a pan, we've got one metal pan with non-stick paper, and then we've also got a glass pan. Never tried a glass pan, but we'll see how that goes. But as you do, basically just get like a ball of the dough, and then drop it in the sugar. And this is, like I say, I usually end up not using this spoon too much. I feel like I should have actually probably put this into the fridge a little bit before, just to make it a little bit less sticky and a little bit more firm. But that's the gist of it. You want to get a little ball of the dough, roll it in sugar on all sides, and then drop that on the pan. And like I said, if you're going to be preparing these for the future, even if you're just preparing these like a week in advance, say you're too busy around the holidays and you want to have cookies but you don't want to have to do it the day before Christmas, you can just fill this entire sheet with the little balls of cookie dough, put it in the fridge or the freezer, wait until they're firm enough to not squish together, and then just put all of those inside a large freezer bag and label that and put that in the freezer. So I'm just going to keep making some more of these, and then we'll get on to cooking. Right, so I don't actually know how long we put these in for because we left the timer going, but I think it was between like 8 and 13 minutes. These could have probably gone in for a little bit less. It seems like the nonstick is not non-sticking on the nonstick, but come here, you. There we go. Yeah, you can kind of see these are a little overdone for what I would do, but this is the first pan in a fresh oven. Basically, just want it to be a little bit darker brown on the bottom, and they'll start cracking on the top. And they should still be kind of bendy and chewy, but I'm going to take them off the pan so that they don't keep cooking, and they can cool down. There we go. And even after they do cool, I would put them into a container, but they should stay relatively chewy. Well, they shouldn't be rock hard. There we go. Yeah, so, yeah, still moist and chewy. Too hot to actually eat right this moment. That would be dangerous. But let's take this aside. And make lots of noise. But there we have it. We've got some nice, chewy, delicious, aromatic ginger snaps. Like I say, my recipe calls for 12 to 15 minutes, but depending on your oven, this is a fan-assisted oven. I'm used to a convection oven. Usually on the convection it takes like 9 minutes, and I think after 8 or 9, maybe 10 minutes we checked it on here, but they were also straight out of the fridge, so I think measure that as well. So just put them in the fridge like this so that they can be a little bit firmer, and then put them into some kind of container or bag to freeze them. But that is pretty much everything. I'm going to bake some more cookies. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope the cookies are delicious if you try them. But thanks for watching, and let me know what you thought about this, and maybe I'll do some more baking, and maybe I'll be slightly less shy.